Are you gonna click on? Welcome. My name is Dr. Bob Saul, or some refer to me as Dr. Bob. I'm a physician, a pediatrician, and a medical geneticist, a father, a grandfather, a husband, and a citizen. And all of those matter in terms of what we're going to be talking about. I'm excited to be a part of the beloved 7-day experience for the Cornelia Stephanie Media Group. I invite you to turn in other days for other experts via the app that you're using today. I hope that you will return on Saturdays at this time as we explore conscious parenting. As I did last time, I want to lead with a definition of conscious parenting because I think that helps set the stage as we go through our 10-minute talks. My definition of conscious parenting is a conscious awareness of the learned ability of parents to understand their interactions with their children and to alter their responses to maximize positive responses and to minimize negative responses. Now, that's a mouthful, and it sounds easy. We know it isn't. As a parent, as a grandparent, as a pediatrician, I know it's not easy. But I want to take some time today and next week to go back to how did I get here? Because I think it's pertinent to the whole journey about trying to be a conscious parent. It's one would, I think we each have had our own journeys in terms of our childhood, adolescence, young adulthood, parenthood. And I think it's important to oftentimes to reflect back. So how did I get to this point? As a young idealistic pediatrician, I finished my training in 1979, and I was determined to be the best darn doctor you could be. I was going to do everything I could for every family I could and just devote 100% of my energies to being the doctor that I could be. 14 years into my practice, I realized I wasn't paying back to my community. I had the opportunity to do more. I had the pulpit as a trusted professional to do more in my community, and I felt that it was important. At the same time, and it's sort of fortuitous, I heard a talk that has made a difference ever since. So this was in 1993. I heard someone give a talk. A healthcare futurist was talking about what healthcare systems should do. And he emphasized that every healthcare system should feel like whatever happens in their community, I am the problem, I am the solution, I am the resource. Those were 12 incredibly powerful words for me. It's not their problem. It has to be my problem if I want to make a difference going forward. It's not their drug problem. It's not their teenage pregnancy problem. It's not their teen violence problem. It's got to be my problem. And I need to be part of the solution. And to do that, I need to devote my resources to that. I must admit, when I heard those words, it took me several months to sort of internalize them and ask myself, well, what can I do? How can I be a better influence? How can I do more within my community? After a couple months, I went to leaders in the community. I said, put me in. I'm ready. I'm ready to do some good work. And I got involved in a variety of projects. I was very happy with my involvement, maybe even, well, to be honest, maybe even smugly so. I was doing such good work. And then the next epiphany for me was April 20, 1999. Two teenagers walked into a high school in Littleton, Colorado, massacred 13 people, and killed themselves. You and I know this is Columbine. I asked myself, could that happen in my community? The answer was yes. I asked myself, what had I done to make a difference? And the answer was, unfortunately, not enough. I was, for some reason, spellbound with this. We've had these incidents before, and unfortunately, we've continued to have them even more dramatically since. But for some reason, this was a call to action for me. And I sat down, put pencil to paper. Back then, we used to do that, and wrote down for the local newspaper what I considered to be 5 steps critical to community improvement. And I'll jump ahead here briefly because I think if we improve what the whole point of community improvement is improving ourselves to be better parents. Over the next 12, 13 years, I wrote over 160 op-ed articles to the local newspaper, which culminated in my first book, My Children's Children, Raising Young Citizens in the Age of Columbine. Let me go start discussing some of those 5 steps, and we're going to talk about those this time and next week also, because I think they're critical. I think the 5 steps to community improvement, as I've called them, are really sort of the prelude to the work I've come up with in terms of conscious parenting, and I'm sure will continue to evolve during the course of the time that I hopefully can still have some impact in the lives of children and families in our society. Step number 1, learn to be the best parent you could be. I chose those words carefully because parenting is a constant learning experience. And if you ever think you're done parenting, I think you're deluding yourself. I was in an event recently where had the books out for sale, and he said, "Oh, I don't need to worry about parenting anymore." And I didn't want to confront him directly, but obviously he didn't understand what his duties are to his child, even his adult children, and in society are in terms of continuing to be a positive parent. So parenting is a constant learning experience. Learn to be the best parent you can be. Not everyone has the same abilities, capabilities, or circumstances. So our job is to help enable them, to help empower them, be the best parent they could be. Single parents have a whole unique set of circumstances. Parents where there's significant illness in the family, parents where their relatives have illness, parents in poverty. There's a whole set of circumstances that can impede the ability to be the best parent you could be. So our job is to help enable them, to help empower them. Now, this is where I got my lesson over the years. When I was a young idealistic pediatrician, people would come in and say, "Well, tell me what to do here, doc." And of course, I knew. I'd had training. I read the books. Of course I knew. And I would tell them. Well, to be honest, over 40 years, I now realized my job was much more than that. My job shouldn't have even been that forceful. My job was to, as best I could, gently peer behind the curtain, see the circumstances, establish a trusting relationship with the family, and to see how together we could do the best job we could to help enable them, to help empower them to be the best parent they could be. I've seen, thousands, maybe tens of thousands of families. And near the end of my career, I saw folks that had some of the most dire circumstances. I worked in a clinic that had 95% Medicaid patient population. It would have been easy for me to tell these families what to do. And then they would walk out and they go, "I don't know what he just said, because we don't have the resources to do that. I don't understand what he's saying." So we have to be careful. Our job is to help ourselves, and to help others learn to be the best parent they could be. So that's step number 1. And there's a whole host of things under that. We want to encourage everyone to breastfeed. We want to encourage everyone to do everything they can. We're going to talk about discipline in the future, but remember, whenever you're disciplining your child, you're teaching them. The root word for discipline is disciple, which means to teach. So that's step number 1. Next week, I'll go over the steps 2 through 5 and quickly get involved, stay involved, love for others, and forgiveness. But let me just ask you to again, join me again on Saturdays to come at this time slot. What can you do in the interim? I would encourage you to go to the KSMG app that you're using right now and find Dr. Bob. Go to the directory and look under founding members and Dr. Bob. Purchase a copy of Conscious Parenting. You'll find it's an easy read and it will enhance our sessions. Thanks for listening, and I hope you all have a great week. Please take care of each other.